This episode of Inside the Game is brought to you by MSI Gaming. The game just got real. Head to our website at insidethegame.ca, where there you can hit up on the MSI link to get all your PC gaming needs. Now, let's get on with the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Game, your one-stop shop for everything cool in video games. Now, you want to be a part of the show? Then head to insidethegame.ca, where there you can submit your clip and end off our show. We have another jam-packed episode this week. The guys and I are heading to the Darkside. Cory and I are getting lost in a dreamscape, and the coronavirus is back at it again. GDC loses another one. All that and a whole lot more, but here's the inside scoop to get us started. The video game industry is changing, and honestly, I think it's for the better. The ability now to be able to play cross-play with friends on both systems, I'm talking about the Xbox and the PlayStation, has become the latest trend. Call of Duty, Fortnite, making the biggest waves, obviously, but adding to that library now is Pearl Abyss, the Black Desert. The ability to play this MMO online with PlayStation and Xbox users is fantastic. I can actually meet up with some of my buddies on PS4 now. Looking forward to that. This game has also seen 12 different languages, 150 countries, and 30 million users.
Animal Crossing is right around the corner, and Tom Nook himself made a video to explain some of the new things that are coming to the game. Day 1 DLC is going to drop the day it releases, March 20th, and it will be a deserted island adventure package. This is going to be everything that you expect from the normal game, but a deserted island to spend your time with and build up however you see fit. Are you tired of living in a world where you can't afford your house? Well, at least Tom Nook has you in Animal Crossing. Check that out.
So it's no secret that the guys here and myself love Rainbow Six Siege. And you know what? We're not the only ones that do. On February 22nd, on the Steam community, Siege hit over 178,000 concurrent players playing the game at the same time. And all I can say is that 2020 Invitational wrapping up on the weekend, I think had everybody hyped up and hopping on. And anybody thinks that Siege is going away, well, guess what? Those numbers just keep going up. You tell me.
So the next generation of consoles is right around the corner, and we don't actually have too much information, but we finally got something pretty great. Xbox just announced that if you buy Cyberpunk on Xbox One, you will get the free upgrade to Series X for free. Yeah, that is awesome, because I don't know how many times I've bought one game on 360 and then had to upgrade to the next. So to have this bit of news, I'm pumped even more for Xbox Series X.
Well, it looks like GDC is losing another developer. Over on the Kojima Productions website, a spokesperson had this to say. Kojima Productions has made the difficult decision to cancel our participation at the 2020 Game Developers Conference due to increasing concerns related to the novel coronavirus. Although much anticipated, unfortunately this cancellation also includes Hideo Kojima's session on the 19th and Eric Jensen's session on the 16th. Kojima was supposed to give a talk about his design philosophy behind Death Stranding. Now, unfortunately, they are not the only studio to be dropping. This follows also with PlayStation, Facebook, as well as Square Enix. The coronavirus strikes again.
Dota Overlords is coming out of beta, and they are entering their first season. Season 1 is set to begin, and with it, they add a Battle Pass-like system to give you customization with some of the set pieces that you'll have. You'll be able to customize the game to make it look more how you want. And if you played the beta before, you'll notice a slight difference. They've done a soft reset, meaning you'll keep your major rank, but they've reset the minor ranks. Now, in addition to this, if you played the beta, you'll get a couple new boards altogether. Check it out.
All right, we got some really exciting news today, and it's straight from the horse's mouth. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, has come out and let us know what we need to expect from the next generation of gaming. So Phil Spencer goes on to say that they know that gamers expect the new generations of consoles to set new standards in graphical power and processing speed, converging together in games that look incredible and feel alive. This will be defined by worlds that are visually astounding and immediately immersive, with innovative leaps in CPU and GPU technology to give you frictionless access to new stories and new creators constantly. Compared to the previous generation, Xbox Series X represents a superior balance of power and speed in console design, advancing on all technological fronts to delivering amazing, dynamic, living worlds and minimize any aspects that can take you out of the experience. Delivering 4 times the processing power of an Xbox One and enabling developers to leverage 12 teraflops of GPU performance, twice that of an Xbox One X and more than 8 times the original Xbox One. Xbox Series X is the fastest, most powerful console ever, designed for a console generation that has you at its center. This means a high-fidelity gaming experience enclosed in a quiet and bold design, with the ability to discover thousands of games across 4 generations, all with more playing and less waiting. So I know that's a lot to take in, but Phil has said leading up to E3, they are going to have a lot more in store and a few more details to uncover. And I think this right now is enough to get all of us excited here at ITG. I don't know about you, so make sure you head over to the website and let us know what you guys think.
So the boys and I, we got to check out EGLX last year and we got to see a ton of cool games. And one of them that really stuck out to me was HitGrab's newest game, Clan O'Connell and the Crown of the Stag. Now this is a really great kind of 2D puzzle platformer where you get to swap between 3 different characters, the heirs to the throne, defending against the Mother of Demons. Now that just sounds cool, but this all takes place in Celtic mythology. So with their new trailer, let's get bumped together. All right, Scott, we're taking the dark side as war and strife through this awesome game.
I'm Strife.
No.
Run if you can!
So we got our hands on Darksiders Genesis, kind of a new take on this whole series. Now, what did you think about this game?
Well, my prior thoughts of Darksiders before now was it's a cool action kind of RPG, and I appreciate the level building and the characters, but it really wasn't the kind of game for me. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that this game is a top-down beat-em-up version of it, but that's not my favorite game either. So this is an interesting take.
Yeah. So for me, I'm pretty familiar with the top-down view, so when I saw this, I was pretty intrigued, and they nailed it for the most part. Let's talk about the gameplay.
Yeah.
So it is really fun and fluent.
Yeah, it is pretty quick. Now, you get a lot of different powers. You can kind of customize your combinations and your fight maneuvers with. You get 2 different characters that you can swap between, or if you're with somebody in the game, you can play co-op.
So this is one of my favorite things. We had a bit of an issue. The first time we tried to join, it wasn't working, but after just a simple reset of the consoles and coming back, half an hour later, no problems. I was able to join in his game seamlessly and play the full campaign, leveling up my own character or my profile while he's on his.
Yeah, now the one thing to consider is just that I was a couple levels ahead of you, but I did have to, as soon as you joined my game, I could only play the levels that you were at. So I couldn't just skip you through the game, but that's probably a good thing anyways, because a lot of the things in the levels are abilities and items and just grinding loot that you would want anyways.
Yeah,
so
because
really worked
it
out.
does have this sort of RPG element. You don't have a base level, and you don't have to pick up armor and stuff or weapons. It's not about that. It's picking up and learning abilities.
They do have like a perk screen kind of thing, and you kind of just grind for those and get them at random loot drop kind of thing. So you beat a boss, and you're probably going to get a gold one. And it's not maybe set as to what those points are, but you start to fit them into the grid, the big slotted grid.
The creature cores grid.
Yeah, the creature cores, that's what it's called. And it's just, it makes you much stronger and able to take on further and further enemies. You get some weird abilities, like if I burst forward, I get like a lava stream behind me, that kind of thing. So there's different ways to kind of play the game, and you don't really get to choose that, but it kind of just works its way out.
Yeah.
And I really like how that worked.
The highlight about this game is the story. Now the story takes place mostly in hell, and you're two agents that are trying to figure out which demon is siding with Lucifer. Because this whole game's kind of about one of these demons trying to disturb the balance of good and evil.
Yeah, no, they do a good job of explaining this story to you over a couple different ways. There's really good cutscenes that they put together. There's also this really cool comic book kind of page that's going back and forth. I'm a fan of that with voiceovers. That can be done really well. And even on top of that, you get into the game and sometimes there's voiceovers in that, and little kind of cutscenes that spring up. I really think they tried to focus on the story. And if you're a fan of the other two games, it's definitely going to be in it for you.
I could say that playing this game really makes me want to play the originals, honestly.
Exactly
After I've gotten to know these characters more, I'm like, man, I really want to just know what this series is all about.
Not so troubling now. Recover the artifact. Let's be
This game is pretty long, and some of these chapters
Surprisingly.
really last. But you get to the end of that chapter, and a lot of the times you get a boss fight. And it's a pretty rewarding boss fight. I mean, it's interesting to fight all these little mooks along the way, but when you find something that's really big and it really demands you use your abilities, that's where the game gets more fun, especially in co-op.
Oh man, and 100%, dude, the boss design and all the characters in this game, they really,
they're pretty solid.
They hit it spot on, man. It intrigued me from the get-go. Even the very beginning title screen intro that they have. It introduces the characters in a hilarious way, and it just kind of set the bar and the pace for the rest of the game.
Yeah, the demons have like a humor to them, and that's kind of really good in this game because it doesn't really take itself too seriously. The only one who takes himself seriously is War, and maybe he's, in my opinion, the weakest part of the story for that.
And that's where I kind of disagree, but not really. He is the weaker part, but he has his counterpart, Strife. Where he's this kind of sarcastic, jerk. So they really kind of play off each other really well.
not like. One thing's for sure, we aren't using the front door.
So Strife is kind of small and War is really big. A lot of the enemies you find are kind of varied in size, and I thought they all looked pretty good. They look kind of similar to what I remember from the other games, but there's all new characters and stuff in this one. So I think they did a good job of keeping true to the original form, but you look at some of the levels and some of the design in this game, and it's really quite impressive.
I really like how they did it, man. Honestly, with a lot of top-down games, they struggle with that camera angle, and at times you do find yourself, coming up towards the camera, which is a little bit annoying. But honestly, for the most part, they did a good job. You're not really hindered by the camera.
No, there's just a few times maybe where you're behind a wall, but it gives you the outline, so at least you know where exactly you are.
Yeah.
Now, before I get off that topic too much, there is a couple glitches to this.
Yes.
I've had my character fall into the map maybe twice, but it wasn't a game-breaking event by any means. And then a couple times when I'm doing executions and stuff like that, I don't know if it's just because the camera angle was in a weird place and it just started, or maybe I was in a tight corner, but it would move my execution out somewhere, detach from my body, and then I would just zoom back there. So it was a little visually distracting, and I had a weird audio glitch one time. But other than that,
for the most part, it's fairly smooth. It's nothing too, game breaking or really annoying.
So Darksiders Genesis was kind of a surprise for me. It does make me want to go back and replay those other games that are not my normal style. This game was also not my style, and with the complicated controls and everything like that, It kind of was hard for me to get into, but now that I'm in, I'm really in. I did really enjoy this game. I have to give this one an 8.
All right, man. So I'm a little bit higher than you. I loved the story. I loved the characters. I really enjoyed playing as Strife. I thought he was an awesome character to have brought into this series. So I'm going to give this game an 8.5. A great top-down RPG full of action, story, and humor. A really solid co-op experience despite a few bugs.
Last week, Scott and Cory reviewed Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville. Now the guys touched on how strategic the game actually turned out to be. So to help you out this week, here's Scott with a few tips.
Plants vs. Zombies is a complicated game, so here's a few tips on how to use your characters a little more effectively. Some characters can combine together to create better combat forms, like the Acorn and Stumpy. The Acorn gets its own bomb, while Stumpy has a bomb as well. The Acorn can also effectively heal Stumpy. Watch now as the Acorn functions as a turret on top of Stumpy's head. In a similar way, the Space Cadet can also transform into the Space Station, where other Space Cadets can mount to the side to become a turret and a shield. Both Stumpy and the space station can hold 3 other friendly units, bringing the total to 4 people as one item. An easily overlooked feature of the Imp and the Mushroom is their ability to double jump in combat. This will keep you very evasive and much harder to target for the enemy players. The Mushroom has a cool ability. His left bumper produces a kind of bubble shield smoke effect. If this targets an enemy, it causes a slow and a confusion in their controls. In addition to this, it also hides anybody inside of the bubble's range, making them undetectable to enemies on the outside. Kind of like the Mushroom, the zombie soldier has a smoke grenade of his own that creates more of a plume of smoke designed to hide you from the enemy. It can hide you from the Corn's butter bomb and other unit discovery type abilities. These are just a few tips designed to get you thinking about how you use your characters. In this game, there's always updates and things that people are discovering that change the meta, so I'll leave you with one last secret. If you find the right item and you run to the right spot, you'll catch a... what?
You bring the cold cuffs, I'll bring the hot brass. This week we got to play a little bit of Cops and Robbers with Hot Brass. Now this game is in early access. It's not quite fully released and it's not quite fully finished yet. But we took a good look and what was your first impressions?
Man, so first impression, graphically, it looks cool, but the character models are a little strange. They're just coins.
They're like a pog.
They're like a pog.
A pog version
Pogs,
of a
cops,
police
and robbers.
officer. Yeah. So there's some enemy pogs. You're the police pogs. You have to go into this building, defuse the situation. What was it? Bring order to the chaos, collect all the weapons, and put all the bad guys in jail. That's the gist of the game. And how it works out in practice is a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, at first, I was didn't know how I feel about it. But man, as you play this game more, it is difficult.
Yes.
It's got a lot of depth. And you have to have some serious strategy going in there. If you're playing solo, oh my goodness, it's hard. But you can play up to 3 other people. So you can have a 4-player game, and that's what this game is meant.
Yeah, if you're solo, you're going to end up playing more like RoboCop, and that's a problem because you're supposed to be a good cop. You can't just walk in there, guns blazing. You have to at least give those guys their warning. Hey, drop the gun, I'm the police, get on the ground, that kind of thing. And that's all done with a left or a right click of the mouse, which is interesting because shooting your gun is a left click of the mouse. So don't get those mixed up because that's a fail screen.
Yeah. So basically, at the start of each mission, you are given a set of tasks, whether collect all the evidence, save a certain set of civilians, or defeat all the enemies. That's kind of what you're laid out with. And you are given the opportunity to approach this situation as you will. It's kind of like I said, it's this top-down view, so whether or not you want to go through the back door or through the side window, they kind of actually give you that bit of chance to do as you want.
Yeah, now you have a lot of different maneuvers in this game. I want to touch on the controls quickly because there's a lot of different stances. You can crouch, you can walk, or you can run into a sprint. Yeah, you break into that sprint. You can also open doors quietly, you can kick them down, you can use breach charges. You can smash windows out, you can hop over whatever you want. There's really a lot of movement to this game, even though you're just a little pog. The mystery is how you're moving around so eloquently, but you go through all these different scenarios and just breach and clear, and it's a lot of fun.
Entry.
So you can approach all these situations differently, and they give you a little bit of options of what you can bring to the table. So the standard is you get your breaching charge and your flashbangs, and you really need to use those.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if there's a couple people in that room, you need to flash ahead, otherwise you're not going to be able to hold all of them up. There's kind of like a morality thing playing where you shoot at the guys or you spook them in some other way. If you make a lot of noise, some people will just give up right away. And other people, they kind of cling to their gun, or if there's a couple people in the room, you really have to chase them down and handcuff them before they become another enemy combatant.
It honestly, it feels really realistic because when I was playing by myself, a lot of the time I'd have to shout several times for them to surrender. But when I was with you, if you came in from the back and I was in the front and shouting at them, both of us, they would almost, yield right away. So it does have that cool realism to it.
But it also has those gadgets if things go wrong. You have a taser, so you can kind of run at them and give them a good shock, and sometimes that's enough for people to give up. But sometimes you're going to take some damage, and this game's really difficult if you do.
Oh, man.
You slow right down, almost to a crawl. They kind of go with this realistic sim-y aspect because there's a lot of darkness and lightness to the game. And I think that's probably the best looking part. People can hide away in those shadows, and you have this flashlight, another gadget, and you can walk around and kind of cast the flashlight, and the fog of war, so to speak, is very strong, very thick. So you have to know exactly where these people are and track them through the rooms.
And even where your teammate is. It doesn't show you where your friends are. So if they're in the other room, like I almost shot Scott a couple times because he was in the other door, and I'm like, I could just hear gunfire and I panicked. And,
when things go wrong, they can go wrong fast.
But a nice thing that they have is when you do get injured, they have health stations in some of these longer missions. So, if you're stuck walking everywhere, you just have to find that health station so that you can go back to walking normal and sprinting.
Yeah. We mentioned the shadows, and we mentioned some of the effects when you're fighting, you're breaking windows, and you're throwing flashbangs around. Those all look really good. Another thing that stands out is the blood trail. If you get into a firefight in this place, it gets messy quick. They actually have footprints wherever you walk around. So there's one problem I have with the game, and it's the one that stands out, and that's that we don't have a character. I'm just a pog, but I know my pog has footprints, and I know I can vault things, so it leaves me to wonder if there ever are going to get real characters fleshed out, because in the cutscenes and in some of the load screens, they look really cool.
They
and
have a
different.
kind of a cool animation style and look that they went for, and I just hope that in the future we see that. But it doesn't, you know, being a pog, it doesn't totally take away from the experience, because
No.
it still is actually surprisingly a ton of fun.
I thought that was going to get in the way, but it really didn't. And a lot of that has to do with the environment and how it looks, and the sounds and how all that
Everything-
works.
oh, man.
There's one missing piece with the character, but everything else seemed to be there. So if we're gonna wrap this one up, this is a not finished product. So we can't really give it a full number, but we will either recommend or not recommend, and I think we're both.
Oh, we're
on the same
recommending
line.
this game, absolutely. For a tiny 250 megabyte package,
Yeah.
you get a lot of game and a good co-op kind of based game.
Oh yeah. A co-op-centric cops and robbers experience that packs a lot of difficulty and depth. Intense action and pick-your-path style is awesome.
Round one.
Now this week we're featuring me playing some Piranha, and I'm doing a 1v1 against the Lawbringer. Now this guy's really good, and I'm still playing this game because it's still really good. Check this out.
Ad mortem inumicus! Defeat. And two. Ad mortem inum... Victory! Three. Victory! Four. Ad mortem inumicus! Victory!
lost in a dreamland of puzzles. Cory, you and I jumped into the world of Dreamo.
Yeah.
A unique puzzle experience focused around solving puzzles of a cube, but it's more the story that caught me and not so much you.
Well, you know what? I'm going to relate this directly to a game we played recently called Sojourn. It's another first person, kind of almost, I wouldn't say the same art style, but very similar art style. Kind of approaching this one. Again, kind of this storyline you follow through as you solve these puzzles, but in this case, opposed to Sojourn, there's actually voiceover to the characters we are in this game. And for me, I liked the voiceover. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. As the game went on, I had some different opinions, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. I am a puzzle guy. I do like puzzles, so the mechanics of the puzzles and the way they work in this game are actually really intriguing. Like you said, it's a cube that you can rotate all around, and the idea is there's a pile of gears on the floor next to the cube that you now have to pick through and fit onto this cube in a certain manner to complete a puzzle that allows you to kind of uncover a clue to kind of make the next step in this adventure.
Yeah, it leads you to the next part of the story, because this, honestly, is the only game aspect of this game. This is a walking adventure game. That's all it is. It's a walking sim with a cube to kind of entertain yourself, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, for me, it was a story of Jack and what's going on in his world, and I don't want to give away, because that's really the thing that kind of gravitates and holds you the most within this. But basically, at the start of it, Jack experiences a plane crash that kind of just messes up his memories, and he's stuck in this like hospital trance thing, but it brings him into this dreamlike state. And this is where the whole Dreamo thing comes from. But then you talk to your counterpart who's outside in the real world, Tara, as she kind of helps you and guides you through this dream state and solving these puzzles. But to be honest, man, by the time I got to the end of the game, I was so done with the puzzles. I just wanted them gone, and I just wanted to finish the story. That was it.
You know what? One thing I've learned now that we've played a few of these puzzle games is I'm definitely not into the pacing of a lot of these games. They do tend to be slower.
Very slow.
And I mean, I'm going to say it could be real slow depending on how much of a difficult time you have with these puzzles.
Yes.
And I mean, a lot of people don't like to be pointed out, you know, how dumb they are maybe in the moment, right? All of us have brain farts at times.
Sure.
And these puzzles aren't always easy to solve, so sometimes these things can become discouraging, especially for people that are new to this genre. So for me, it just didn't have that pacing that I necessarily wanted. Like I said, I like the mechanics of the puzzles, but when I've looked at, you know, the 40th cube of my adventure, the gears do a few different things, and now things are gravity fed depending on how I move the cube. Like they do change things up as you go to try to keep it fresh. But for me, the story never grabbed me, so the puzzles aren't electric enough to kind of keep you going through all the way. So there is an aspect to this that if you don't get immersed, it's going to be hard to stick with it.
The puzzles aren't enough to keep you there. That's the thing, right? That's what I just said. It's the only game aspect of this thing is these cubes. And I like the difficulty ramp up they did with the cubes. I thought it was well paced as far as cube progression goes. But by the time one of the last puzzles I was at, I'm there for half an hour trying to figure this thing out, because by the time you're doing it, you get to this thing, and now you're teleporting between cube worlds. So now you're on one face, but then you hit the space bar, and then that jumps you to like another part of this cube within another dimension, and that does it 3 different times. Faced with these other parts, the pins that go in and out, and then the certain pins got to be facing the right direction, and then the gravity will drop it. And I almost smashed my computer.
Just thinking about it again.
Like, I was so irritated by the time I was actually done with it. I'm just like, I just want the story by that point. To me, some of these people are really going to gravitate and really want to push and solve these puzzles. And some of them were really fun. And some I hammered out in like seconds. Others took maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, cool. I can finally get past that and work with that. But to get to that difficulty of, man, you are at the end of the game, because we're going to hit you with as many confusing parts of this puzzle that you're going to get, and you're just going to get infuriated by it.
It's true, because you know what, the one thing, because like I said, I do enjoy doing puzzles, so kind of you know that it's ramping up as you go, so I'm kind of always looking forward to seeing what's changing for the next puzzle as I bring in new elements. But again, it's still the same cube, you're looking at the same gears, right? So I get the building of the difficulty when it comes to, you know, adding different elements to the cube puzzles as the game moves along. But when you get, you know, have that, it seems very repetitive, so by the end of the game, you're kind of, you know, I'm just glad the puzzles are over. But at the same same time, we talked about the voice acting a little bit earlier. I was pleased to see that it was in the game. I wasn't just reading text bubbles the whole time.
Man, can you imagine?
Because that would have been even worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least Sojourn was just like pictures and video, and there was there was nothing, and it was at least interpretive.
Yep.
But with this, I find the voice acting is very like monotone.
Very.
It's there's no character in these characters.
No, Jack has very little personality. He's just kind of one tone the whole time.
You were supposed to think positively, Jack. Perhaps you sacrificed too much time for things that did not matter.
Like all of us.
Man, this game isn't that long to be saying these same phrases over and over and over again.
Yeah, games like this have to stay somewhat fresh throughout the course of the game to keep people engaged. You have to be a pretty hardcore puzzle game fan, I think, to stick with this one.
You know what? I stuck it out. I really did like the game. I liked the story and the confrontation and the feedback. You feel the tension build between Jack and Tara as the story progresses. And man, by the time I got to the end of the game, I was like, well, okay, it was worth fighting through some of those puzzles to get to the final outcome of the story, because that's where it really kind of caught me the most. And man, I loved the story, but it was so slow. That was the problem.
It takes a while to get there.
You know what? And the game isn't all that long. 6 to 8 hours, you can easily pump this thing out. But that's 6 to 8 hours. If you don't catch someone's attention in the first hour to 2 hours of a game,
it's tough to keep
they're
going.
not really going to stick around.
No, definitely not.
Well, I think that was enough puzzle cubes for me for this one. What do you score in Dreamo, Cory?
You know what? Like I said, we've done a few of these now, so I've kind of got a benchmark of where I think these games should be at. And like I said, the pacing's slow, but that's the style behind these games.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's not the pace I necessarily enjoy in a game. I do enjoy the puzzle mechanics. They get a little old after time. But you know what? This one is a complete game, and I think it's for somebody. It's just not for me, so I'm going to give it a 6.
Man, I'm a little bit higher for you because the story, by the time you finish the story and you get there, you get that feeling, you get the whole wrapped up package. It makes sense, and you feel the weight of what Jack went through to kind of get to that. But the puzzles kind of did drag on a little bit to the point where I just want past the puzzles to hear the rest of the story. I'm there with a 7.
The puzzle mechanics in Dreamo work well, but the weak voice acting and repetitive nature of the puzzles make it difficult to stay engaged. All right, Drew, this week we're going to become Arena Legends. All right, Drew, we did a giveaway last week for some codes for Hunter's Arena Legends, a new kind of Battle Royale style game on the PC on Steam. We got to check it out. What did you think?
Man, you know what? There's a few things I got mixed because, first of all, this is a beta.
Yes.
So we're expecting issues already off the hop because this game isn't finished. It's not polished. It's not whatever. But there are some stepping stones that they're going to have to overcome, I think, before launch.
Yeah.
But I think the foundation they have there is something that's really
Looking
unique
pretty good.
and very cool.
Yeah.
Graphically, I thought it was pretty good. I think we are going to see eventually a graphical upgrade to the game, but for now it's a solid start. But the overall experience of the game is you play a bit of a MOBA as you go out into this arena.
Yes.
And you fight off minions, then they actually have boss fights out there in the world, and then while you're out in the world, they also have merchants that you can go and hit up for more gear, so you're constantly looking to get more loot to upgrade and then whatever, but the whole time while all this is going on, it's actually a battle royale at the same time.
PvP all at the same time.
So it's pretty chaotic, because man, I got bombarded a few times. I'm in the middle of a minion fight, and then I just get nailed by one dude. My health has already got knocked half, and he comes in full health, and I just got wrecked. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, I definitely wasn't the best player in the arena, let's put it that way.
I think the best I made was 7th place.
Yes.
Yeah, so of course, if you played a Battle Royale, it shrinks, the dome shrinks. And there's certain fields that get kind of smoked out and stuff. There's a lot of depth to the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts.
Man, there's a ton of moving parts. So I was only able to get about, I want to say 5 matches in.
Yeah.
Which was a little disappointing because I wanted that MOBA experience because I really missed my Paragon. So to see that this was something that was out there, I thought, damn, this
right
looks
up your
cool.
alley.
Very, very, very cool. I like all the fighters that they got to choose from.
Yeah.
They had, I think it was around 8 or so, and they're going to obviously come with more eventually, but I think the solid foundation of fighters that they do have was a lot of variety. You have your melee, and you had your defensive type, then you had your range guys. So you had a different genres to pick from, which I thought was really cool. So they enabled you to kind of go in and pick like kind of the style that caters to you, towards yourself more than somebody else.
Yeah, they did have kind of a character for everybody, especially with just kind of the base set of characters they did have. And what I noticed playing on my PC, because we've been doing a lot of Xbox games, a lot of Switch games lately, I haven't actually got to enjoy my PC as much. And even in this game being a beta, like we said, the graphics I had kind of running almost on max, and it looked really good. And I was impressed for a beta for a game I've never heard about before, other than the trailer we watched a few weeks ago. So jumped into this, I didn't know exactly what to expect, but like you said, it was a lot of moving parts once you're in the game, so there's a lot to learn. And because we were having server issues a little bit, it was difficult to kind of immerse yourself into this game to start to learn all the mechanics and aspects of it. But what we did get exposed to seems like a solid foundation for a game, and it's just, I'm upset because I wanted to play more of it, and it was just like, all right, I need to learn more about the characters I'm playing and picking, and kind of just, I want more exposure in that battle arena, because I just felt like I got eliminated so fast. I didn't really get to explore it as much as I wanted to, you know? So again, it's one of those things where I think it's kind of a game that's fitting kind of into two genres all in the same time, but it's kind of doing its own thing, and I think that's what make it stand out from the rest of these games.
Absolutely. So I thought this was kind of a cool battle royale style, because most times for a battle royale you come in on a bus, like Fortnite, a plane like PUBG, where this one you actually start in the center of the map, and then the floodgates open. But while you're in that map, you can hit up the merchants.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool hub.
Yeah, or you can get your mount and go off that way. Now I was a bit of a troll, and I jumped onto somebody else's mount, so I wasn't buying one. Because you only have 1,000 credits to get started, right? So you can either buy gear or you can buy a mount. And I went and bought gear, and then hopped on the back of this guy's mount.
Hitch a ride.
Yeah, he takes off, and then about 30 seconds, because you have a minute to basically disperse the center of the map to go get your own kind of
kind of like safety, a little bit, like a safety buffer.
So there's about 40 to 60 people on a match, depending on how many people were loaded in on the server. So I'd hitch a ride, take off about 30 seconds, I'd jump off this mountain, and he would keep going, or they would keep going, and then I would head off in somewhere other direction, right? But I thought the traversal of the landscape was really cool, because there wasn't just flat. And I think that was something I was a little nervous about, how they were going to handle that. Because if you go to Fortnite, they got hills and whatever, right? And if you play PUBG, you got mountains and kind of things. Where this one, it had other levels. And at one point, too, they had like a big tree trunk. I went right through the tree trunk to get to the other side. It was really cool. There's water. There's a lot of depth to this. And then to go after you're fighting on the minions, and then you got to learn your abilities and when your timing. But I found when I'm hammering on my mouse. I found the camera would jank up and it would hit when you're trying to move at the same time. You kind of get this, and then your character would attack. But then I'm a little too late. I'm getting hammered. So that's why I said it is a beta. So I'm not expecting that perfect polished game. But this is some of the things that I'm hoping they sort out further on the line. Man, I can't wait to jump back in.
Yeah, I know, and I'm excited because there's 3 game modes in this to start off. You have your solo jump in. You can play in a trio, which I thought was really cool. And they have this kind of interesting tag team mode where you actually, as a solo, pick 2 characters to start the match with, and you actually start as one of those characters, and then as if you get eliminated, you get to switch over to the other character you picked, which I thought was really interesting because in a lot of battle royales we've seen out there don't really have something like that. And for me, I thought that was kind of a cool little touch. I don't know how popular of a game mode it would be, because unfortunately right now the lobbies are low pop, but again, it's a beta, and we keep going back to that, but it's just, again, when you want to look at this game in a deeper kind of dive, it's hard when there's not enough people playing it, but I think this game's going to catch on.
I think it is. I think it's obviously different from what we've seen. Mixing both, I've never seen anything mix a MOBA with a Battle Royale. I know Battle Royale has been obviously on the rise lately with Fortnite and PUBG making kind of the staple of it, and then making their own thing. And then to mix the both genres, I was really shocked when I saw that trailer, man. I was like, ooh, this looks flipping cool. So to jump in and actually get hands-on time, again, getting into the game was our biggest hindrance. Getting into that map, and then once you get in there, you're in the lobby. You were there for a while before you actually loaded in the game.
Sometimes you're 20 plus minutes waiting for a game to start.
So it's a little bit of things they need to work on, but again, early access, can't really complain all that much.
No, definitely not.
But the overall experience is this. Okay, so when I play Paragon, I would then, when I'm done Paragon, go onto the website to research my steps on which way I want to upgrade.
Yep.
This is no different.
No.
I'm done playing Hunters, but I'm going to go onto the website because I want to know which way I should be upgrading and my health,
how to build your characters.
and which tier and which slide it goes down, right? Because everything breaks out into something bigger, and you're upgrading this and changing that, and you want to flip over this. In a lot of games, when you're playing a MOBA, you will go down and then you'll be able to switch out your cards or your stats, kind of thing, right? Where this one, you kind of just like an upgrade system.
So you want to make sure that every decision you make along the way is going to kind of lead you where you want to go, right?
Oh yeah, and in a MOBA, you pay attention to who's out there and what kind of enemies you're going up against and who you're going to face. Now the minions are one thing, you can expect that from those, but it's the other people that are in the game, the PvP aspect of it, that you kind of go, okay, who am I going to meet while I'm out there? And then what abilities do they have that I'm able to counter with this person?
Yeah, you need to prepare.
And exactly, right? So for me, this is something I've been looking to have on my radar, is that I'm able to dive into something like this deep.
Yeah, and you know what? They're so close.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the best time we had playing this game is when we got in and played.
Yeah.
It was a bummer not getting in, but as soon as we got in, it was a blast to play. So you let me, you expose us to a little bit more of that regularly. I think, like, there's a chance that this game really can grow. And like you said, I'm excited to get in and see a little bit more of this one.
I want to see it go to a competitive side too, right? I want to see, once they're able to get the foundation in, polish it up, are we going to get the shoutcasting in and get the whole commentators in the background?
It'd be wild to watch professional versions of this.
I can't wait. You watch this from an outside perspective. This is a huge map too.
Oh yeah.
It's not a tiny
It's
map
not
that we're in
small.
just this little area. It's big. So I honestly, sometimes I found myself going from one area to the next without seeing anybody.
Yeah.
Right? That was a bit of a, so I wonder maybe the map is too big, or do they increase the amount of people that come into the map?
The lobby size,
So instead of having a 40-person lobby, jump it to that at least 60 to 80 maybe, right? So you don't have to be at 100 like other people, but maybe increase that so I'm not just fighting minions the entire time.
Yeah, it makes
I'm
it a little
actually
bit
running
better.
into somebody else.
For sure.
Cory, overall experience with Hunters Arena Legends, what are you thinking?
You know what? Again, it's a beta. There was some server issues. Graphically, like we said, it's not maybe as polished as we wanted to. But again, unfinished game. I think the bones for a really good gamer here, and the fact that they merged two very popular kind of PvP style game modes into one game for this, I think there could be some serious success for how far this could go. And I'm just interested to see a little more exposure on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a great time when I got into the game. It was just a matter of getting in there. So if you had the patience over the weekend to do all that and stick around, and by the time I got in, I was just, what character do I want to pick? Who do I want to play this time around, right? I was so excited to get in. Honestly, I'm looking forward to this one. It should be on your radar as well.
So this week's mobile mention, I'm doing something a little different. I'm talking about a game that completely struck home with me. Bringing, the old with the new and making a fantastic game. We're talking about Might and Magic Chess Royale. Now the reason I say it brings the old because I grew up playing a game called Heroes of Might and Magic, and it's been around since the late 90s. Now when I finally caught wind of this game, and it has all the characters from the games that I grew up loving. Characters from some of the notorious factions like Dungeon and Fortress, Necropolis. We get all the creatures and heroes from the olden days put into a Battle Royale, Chess Royale style game. At the start of every round, you're allotted a certain amount of money. Now you get to decide whether or not to buy more troops and expand your army, or upgrade them, or even still buy spells and upgrade your hero. There is so much to do within this 40-second time period between rounds. And just to be able to see all these really cool characters and then compete against 99 other people in this really cool royale, I'm totally in. boys and I are Plants and Zombies, and we're on the battle for Neighborville.
Cactuses, man.
Yeah, I saw that. He's a big one.
Yeah, they got that long range.
We got lots of plants over here, boys. Get over here.
Bring the round up.
We got some strong plants.
That's hilarious. Oh man.
Oh, we got guys up top here.
How many waves do we get here, Scott? We're playing this.
I think 5. I think 5 is the boss wave, and then it's over.
Where's the cactus?
I see him up
right
there. Yeah.
You can't stand
Nice.
against us, boys.
Oh, look at the flame guys over here.
Oh, I was dead.
Oh.
Cacti.
Got the cacti. Oh, behind us.
Whoa! What is that?
That's my magnet attack. Just throws them.
Nice.
It's really useful for online when you do the turf war, because he's just like, get off my point.
Oh, there's a healer back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, back, boys.
Oh, back over here. Yep.
Okay, healers real quick. Oh, there's snipers down here. I'll take care of those guys.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What are you calling me, Cory? Guy?
This guy's angry. Alright, this guy's angry.
I'm not little anymore.
We got guys attacking the point, eh? They're right on here with the plant guys. Watch those fellas.
There he is.
These little cactus.
How slow is your guy now, Nate?
Wait, what? It said boss wave completed? That's not a boss wave. Careful.
Of course it does. Why wouldn't it turn you into a goat?
Yeah. A big dragon spell like that. It's weird, because there's a plant, it's the dragon fruit thing now, so I don't...
Oh.
And the rose is the thing that shoots that spell, so I don't... It all doesn't make any sense.
This game doesn't make
In case you were worried.
I
It did up until then, you know? I had it until...
Watch that.
Whoa,
rose.
what is that thing?
Oh no. Hold down. How do I get back up here?
The pink pads jump you up. They're like a...
Oh my god! What is this?
Oh no, you're a goat! Oh, you're not a goat.
You're a goat.
You're a goat.
Oh, there's a big tree, guys. We gotta get this guy.
Stumpy!
Got him. Get off. There you go.
Wildflower.
Kill the rose. Kill the rose.
Got her. Real pain in the butt, that one.
We got one left.
Not again.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
There he is!
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh, there's Stumpy out here.
Down here.
Back of the
Yeah. Oh, there's that one.
El
There's somebody else.
Stumpo.
Oh, that one's dead. Stump, yeah.
I feel like I got plumber's crack, my guy.
You probably do, my guy. So this rolls to determine what our boss will be. Oh.
What does that mean?
That's a pretty good boss wave, that's what that means. Oh
All right,
yeah.
we
Alright,
got
I had
it.
to put up some health. Put up some health.
Let's go,
beacons if we
boys.
can.
He's over here.
Oh, there's
Good boss.
guys here.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh, that was a big citron. Orange.
Right.
Yeah. Nice.
Came around the backside. And
Clean it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Just-
That's Cory pulling out his Call of Duty moves.
I was trying to spawn camp, it didn't work.
Yo, the character I am, Scott, is Diva from Overwatch.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Oh yeah.
You even escape your thing, and
it blows up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's almost dead.
It's totally like a move.
Oh, so am I. I gotta get out of here. Back to my health pot.
He's dead.
The sunflower queen.
There we go.
Oh, that pumpkin's vicious.
Oh, there's nothing in here, so.
Oh man. Oh yeah, he is vicious.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah, he doesn't hit as hard as you think. At least he didn't damage me as much as I thought he was going to. But he's got a lot of HP.
Laser beam is also pretty strong.
Laser beam.
I love this game, dude. Oh, it's so good.
But at its core, like, it's actually a pretty good shooter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we got
He's mad.
Kill the pumpkin.
Working on the zombie over here.
Just slowed me down.
Oh!
Kill
Oh,
shot.
there's pumpkin juice everywhere.
Actually, they're attacking the grave-o-matic, guys. We gotta get that.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
I'm jackhammering my way over here.
Oh, I'm getting wrecked by something.
There we go.
Oh, there's another one. It's a big stuffy.
Yeah, I was fighting him for a while.
Holy!
Hold them off here a little bit.
I just flipped her there. Quick.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh, I need superside.
We got like a lima bean boss here. What's going
Bean!
on?
It's Laser Bean! There he is!
This guy's vicious. This guy's vicious.
Laser Beans!
I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm in so much trouble.
Focus somebody here.
Yeah, stick to the health pot.
I can't go. Oh.
Health pot's right by me.
Okay.
And the bean! Oh no! Don't jeopardize the health.
Oh man, there is no health anymore.
Kill
Oh,
it.
we almost got him. We almost got him.
Put everything you got in it.
Oh, he's down low.
He just dodged all of that.
I'm going for the kill shot. See ya, Bean.
Somebody was doing the ultimate.
He gone.
There we go.
Bonus.
Nice.
Nate, that was a good episode, man. That was a lot of fun. Now, each and every week, you guys hit us up at InsideTheGame.ca, where there we can highlight one of your clips. What we got this week?
This week we got Rackety Tundra doing a couple really nice shots in Destiny 2 Crucible.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sticking around. We'll see you next week inside the game.
Zone C captured. Zone B captured. 2 zones are yours. Two down.